Hello, dear parish family. Father Daniel here with another edition of Sabbath Reflections. As we now break open the Word for the 23rd Sunday in Ordinary Time. Aside from the very profound truths that Jesus came to teach us, being God made man, that he was able to relay to us these eternal truths, these universal truths, these truths necessary for our salvation and to understand our identity in God that Jesus gave us by what he said and did. He was actually full of practical advice as well. As a matter of fact, you could say that Jesus is the ideal life coach because knowing the human heart as both God and man, he's able to help us understand what makes us tick, how we are to live healthy lives in the sight of God, and great advice for working on our relationships. Today is one such example, where in the gospel, our blessed Lord prepares for us a sort of path, gives us, if you will, the framework, the blueprint, to be able to understand how best to deal with conflict. And in the most humble and honest, as well as dignifying method, our Lord instructs us this Sunday that we are to deal with conflicts head on, never allowing them to fester and thus hurt our relationships with others. He encourages us to respect the truth while at the same time keeping our eyes on the horizon of reconciliation. As he tells us, first you go to the person, your brother who has sinned against you, has hurt you, and if he doesn't listen, you take 2 or 3 witnesses so that every fact may be established. And if he doesn't listen then you knock on Father Daniel's door and go to the church. Well, no, I'm sure they just mean the community. But you see where our Lord is going with this. He's not telling us to resort to gossip or to hearsay. He's not telling us to sit in resentment and thus only maybe dealing with the other by passive-aggressive means, or worse, by outright violence or hurt or just sheer anger, that we make the decision to be men and women who decide to look toward reconciliation, to be people who see both the truth that we need to express, those challenges that need to be overcome, that need to be expressed, while at the same time recognizing that the bond between us is so much more important. It is one of the most dignifying methods I can think of, friends, that when we have beef with someone, that we make sure to go and face that head on, to look them in the eyes and say, you wronged me. This wasn't right. Not in order to prove our point or to be the one who has the last word, but as a means of saying, look, we had a great relationship and this hurt that relationship. This thing you did, this thing you said, hurt something that was good and sacred and beautiful. And of course, it is an attempt to be able to reconcile, as God seeks reconciliation with us as well. When we disparage of his goodness, when we decide to turn away from his mercy, from his love, he always seeks reconciliation, friends. And he does it in a very direct way. He does it as we seek humility within ourselves to acknowledge that sinfulness. The God within us calls us back to being honest about these things. And then, of course, he gives us the ultimate dignifying and merciful way of being able to express those things and to hear those consoling words from the priest in the sacrament of reconciliation. I absolve you. Dear friends, how much heartache, how much hurt and frustration would be prevented if we followed our Lord's advice this time? If we really listened to him and said, you know what, I'm going to do as he said. I'm going to deal with this head on. Instead of resorting to gossip, or even in a more playful sort of example, just sharing things we've heard about people without really knowing what's going on, how much hurt would be avoided? Unnecessary hurt at that. And so, friends, if today you have been needing to bring up an awkward conversation because of something that has happened, and possibly to risk growing close once more, then don't wait any longer, because your peace and the truth are worth too much. God bless you all, and happy Sabbath Happy Resurrection Day.